Have you ever heard an old person railing against tattoos and calling them a sign of social ruin? If you're from the US, you probably have. But here's the thing. Medieval Christians got tattoos for going on pilgrimage to Jerusalem. Tattoos themselves are nothing new. There are records of them dating back to ancient times in Thrace, Rome, Scythia, Egypt, and so on. That is to say that each society used tattoos for the same purpose. Romans viewed tattoos as punishment for crimes, for instance. It's surprising then that their Christian descendants would even want to get their arms tattooed, let alone use tattoos as a sign of having gone on pilgrimage. This is not to say that Roman and Greek influences completely disappeared. For our little sphere of pilgrimage ink, most of these tattoos were simple crosses in the Greek and Latin styles. By now, you're probably wondering how we know anything about this, as most human bodies don't turn into these Siberian ice mummies with preserved skin. Hence, archaeological evidence is naturally elusive here. However, we do have textual sources. In Lucian's Dodea Syria, there is a passage near the end of a section of bodily preparation for pilgrimages that reads, "All are tattooed, some on the wrist, others on the neck." It is because of this that all Assyrians wear tattoos. Many scholars have pointed to this as evidence of religious tattooing, though there is still dissent, as some believe Lucian may have been just referring to a particular practice of the Assyrians. Despite this, there is still little evidence of pilgrimage tattoos being widespread, at least before Rome fell. Some have suggested this indicates the practice was confined to a fringe group of Christians rather than it being mainstream. This may not have been the case in later time periods. Through the early Middle Ages, opinions of tattoos were controversial. Some associated them with the barbarians and pagans, while the Christian tattoo was gaining popularity as groups like the Celts converted to Christianity. The historian Juliet Fleming says that pilgrimage tattoos became a common sight in Europe by the 15th century. This is said to be due to a shift in attitudes in both religion and society between the 12th and 15th centuries. For example, if we backtrack a bit, in 786 CE, Pope Hadrian addressed the papal legates of the Church of Northumbria on the topic of Christian tattoos. He denounced them as similar to acts done by the pagans by devilish prompting. Hadrian continued that those who tattoo their bodies disrespect God. However, if anyone were to undergo this injury of staining for the sake of God, he would receive a great reward for it. But if anyone does it from the superstition of the pagans, it will not contribute to his salvation any more than does circumcision of the body to the Jews without the belief of the heart. Here he did not condemn the tattoo itself as disrespectful. He just thought most individual decisions on the matter were swayed by pagan influence. So even in the start, there wasn't as much opposition to pilgrimage tattoos as you'd think. This brings us back to the later medieval period. By the start of the 15th century, tattooing had begun its saturation into European Christian culture. This was for a variety of reasons. Some viewed it through the lens of the pain and physical marking of the stigmata, those wounds left from nails in the hands and feet during crucifixion, especially after St. Francis marked himself with such in a way. Others just wanted a souvenir of having been on pilgrimage in much the same way as modern tourists, and pilgrims want to show that they have been to a place. That being said, the practice of pilgrimage tattoos survived until at least the mid-20th century among Coptic and other Eastern Christian groups. During his own research, John Carswell found a coffin maker/tattoo parlor in Jerusalem doing pilgrimage tattoos, though those ranged from simple crosses to elaborate scenes of Jesus like the crucifixion. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like or a comment. If you want more, you can check out the other videos on the channel, as there's always more history.